Good morning, family. You are watching Executing My Ex's Ministries Transformational Tuesdays. I am your host, Ashley D, and I am so excited that we are here to see another beautiful day. I want to say a happy Memorial Day to all of you. I hope you all somewhat enjoyed it. If you live here in Virginia, you know it pretty much rained all day yesterday, and it was just a lot going on. So, most of the time, when it comes down to Memorial Day, we take out some time to visit grave sites, put fresh flowers on those that we have lost. And so, I know it was very hard to do that yesterday with all of the rain, but I pray and I hope you had a good holiday. I hope that you were able to reflect on those that you may have lost at some point in your life, and that you received God's love and his compassion towards you that gave you some kind of joy, that kind of uplifted your spirit. So I pray all went well on yesterday's holiday. So listen, we are concluding the theme mental health awareness. And I told you all at the top of the month, when it came down to Transformational Tuesdays, that the Lord really had challenged me. He made it perfectly clear for me to be transparent enough to share those mental health challenges that I have experienced at some point in my life. And so when I got to this week, I was like, Lord, what else you want me to talk about? Because for what I do know, I have came in contact with anxiety, I've came in contact with depression, and I've also came in contact with suicidal thoughts, which I have been obedient in sharing. So I was like, Lord, I don't think I've, had any other mental health challenges at any point in my life. But when I begin to research and when I begin to, take out some time to look at the different mental health challenges and issues and conditions that many people face, I realized that I actually experienced a case of PTSD. And it takes me back to back in, I believe it was 2017, the first quarter of 2017. So I got in a car accident. It was a three car accident. And it was the first time I ever really at any point in my life saw my life flash before my eyes. I was going up the interstate, going to work. It was first thing in the morning, maybe around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And, just en route, if you know Independence Boulevard, it is super heavy traffic. First thing in the morning, everybody trying to get to work. And a car ran into the back of me and made me hit the car in front of me. And also, the car that hit me just so happened to be my fiance at the time. We both were trying to get to work, and what are the odds? It sounds like a free accident, but it really was. But it was the first time I've ever experienced my life flashing before my eyes. I was frozen at least for a good 10 to 15 minutes before somebody really knocked on my door, asked me, was I okay? The crazy part was the car in front of me had just got their car back from being in an accident. And it was just crazy because not only I was dealing with the impact of the accident, I also was dealing with the fact of who hit me at the time. And it just sent me down a downward spiral of emotions. I literally was in a state of silence for maybe a week and a half before I really started talking. Like, the only thing that I answered questions to the insurance company and everything, did all that jazz, got all that business stuff taken care of. But I also had that moment with God where I was like, is this your way of telling me I need to get out? I need to make some changes? Like, is this your abrupt way of getting my attention? And so that accident transitioned into me going into a space of silence. I was just like down and out, didn't talk. I went to work. I tried to stay busy, so I wouldn't think about it. But literally days after, I was replaying that day. I was, having nightmares about the accident. It was just so many different feelings I was having at the time. And then after the accident, a couple of weeks went by, the end of my relationship, my engagement, and all of that kind of was gone as well. So dealing with the emotions of that. And if I'm honest, I went to a straight depressed state. I went into a time where I was drinking heavily. If I'm honest, I kept alcohol around. I did not go to bed without a drink. I really did some heavy drinking every day. When I tell you dark liquor, light liquor, everything, like I went to bed with a drink because I was traumatized. And even though I had to keep driving because I had to go to work, I had different things that I was responsible for and I had to go to. But it was hard. It was hard for me to drive because I felt like the smallest thing triggered me, even going that way towards work. Like I started going a different way because I knew if I went that way, I will be overwhelmed and I would be like going to a whole anxiety attack. And I was just literally stressed out, y'all. Like I was stressed out for a long time. And I was depressed. I was depressed mainly because it was also termination of the relationship, but I really started drinking a lot. Like I was a casual drinker before then, but at that point I went to bed with a drink every day, trying to avoid the nightmares, trying to avoid just thinking about the accident because I really felt like my life had flashed before my eyes. I could have been dead. I could have been gone. It really could have went another way. But if it wasn't for the hand of God protecting me, even in that situation, I was able to make it through. And so I just want you to know that sometimes with PTSD, it may come instantly. It might be a delay, but I just want to encourage you to trust God to kind of help you and push you through it. Try not to run to different things that could hurt you, that, in order for you to cope with the pain, in order for you to cope with the issue, the traumatic experience that you have. Instead, talk about it, pray about it. If you need to sit in front of a counselor, do that. Be more vocal about how you're feeling so you can get the help that you need. I promise you, it will make all of the difference. One thing that I will say publicly is that a lot of time I suffer in silence. And that is a habit that I'm learning how to break. I'm learning how to be more vocal about some of the things that I deal with, some of the things that I fight with, some of the traumatic experiences that I have gone through in order to overcome them. Because, when you get quiet and you suffer in silence, the devil likes to really play on your playground. He likes to talk in your ear. He likes to talk into your mind and kind of put you in a place where you're like the absolute worst. But God is merciful. His grace and his mercy continues to extend that towards us in the midst of what we're going through, in the midst of our traumatic experiences, in the midst of our mistakes. So today, I just want to encourage you, if you have ever suffered with PTSD because you went through a traumatic experience, please be more vocal about what you're feeling, what you're going through. There are triggers that you will face. We all face triggers with some things. This year, in the same first quarter, there was an accident that took place with my car. Thankfully and prayerfully, I was not in the car. I bless God for that. But it definitely took me back to that moment. It took me back to that place where, my car was just straight done. Like, luckily my car back then, could get fixed or whatever, but the accident that happened this year had completely total lost my car. And the one thing that I could come out and say is, God, I'm so glad and I'm so grateful that I was not in the car. And I'm glad that you protected me and kept your hand on my life to not experience that, because I know that would have made it even worse. If I was in the car when that happened, it literally could have really sent me another way. But I am so grateful to the Lord that despite the experience, the case of PTSD that I had, I'm glad that when I started to be a little bit more vocal, I had friends. I would shout out one of my bestest friends that a girl could ever have, Philip Vaughn, literally pulled me up out of all that I was going through. I felt like I was really drowning in my fears and my sorrows, drowning in those nightmares and those just the fear of driving and just all of the emotions that I was feeling from that traumatic experience with that car accident. If it wasn't for Philip running to my rescue, y'all, I don't know where I would be, but he ran to my rescue and would call me and literally say, yo, what are you doing? Come on, we gotta go. Like, I'm coming to pick you up in the next 30 minutes. We going somewhere. I don't care if we going bowling. I don't care if we going out to eat. I don't care if we're taking a walk. He would come and get me and would do it at least 2 or 3 times a week because he know that I was drowning in my sorrows and I was having nightmares. And so I'm grateful for being more vocal because I had friends to actually call me and say, hey, let me get you. Let me pray for you. Let me help you out of this bad situation. It's going to be okay. You survived it. We're going to make it through. So today, I know I said a lot and it was just a lot of, it was a lot that came back to my remembrance about that situation that I want to share with you. You can overcome it. Be more vocal. If you come in contact with PTSD, be more vocal to those around you so they can help you. If you need to go sit with a therapist, do that as well. It's okay. Sometimes we come in contact with triggers, but you can overcome it. Just continue to pray, continue to be more vocal, and I promise you that God will help you through that situation. So I hope something was said to kind of help you to overcome this case of PTSD. Thank you so much for tuning in and to Executing My Ex's Ministries Transparent Transformational Tuesdays. I am your host, Ashley D, and I'll see you tomorrow for Worship Wednesday. God bless you.